Hello, Pop Girlies. We're going to take a bite out of the Big Apple.
Get your headphones on.
We love New York.
Well, yes.
I don't.
Yes.
But most importantly, we love Pop Girlies Nation.
Yes. Chicago is home, but we love New York.
What if we
Sure.
like made, oh God, I love Chicago, love Chicago. No, it doesn't work.
Love Chi-Town, love Chi-Town, love
Oh
Chi-Town.
yeah.
Chi-town, Chi-town, my
I
town.
do, I do hate Chi-Town. Like the phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really love it either.
It's
Everything
like
Two
about it
syllables.
makes me want to die.
yeah, it's just like something that like is exclusively said on like those trucker hats that everyone wears to come to school.
Yeah.
Oh, it could be like, oh God, I love Boys Town, love Boys Town, love Boys Town, love Boys Town.
Well, isn't that not what it's called anymore?
Technically,
Isn't
no.
it?
Oh God, I love North Halsted, love North Halsted, love North Halsted, love North Halsted. Drew
Right.
just clapped exactly the way that Luann does when she goes, he wants to marry me.
I
Money
love
can't buy
that.
you class. I feel like
But
Addison
money is
Rae is
everything.
pretty into
Okay,
that.
we need the Countess Luann Money is Everything, Money Can't Buy You class remix.
Yes, because then
I,
we have New York, I Love New York remix right into Money Can't Buy You Class, Money is Everything remix.
well, Diet Pepsi
Well,
sandwich.
yeah, Diet Pepsi in the middle, babes.
Okay, okay, yeah.
But on
But
the
as
remix
soon as,
album, we could get Lana on Diet Pepsi.
yes.
So then it's Madonna,
Pep
New York, Lana Del Rey, Pepsi, Countess Luann, Money is Everything. Have the opening acts, Madonna and Lana, open for the true
Countess
queen
Luann.
of pop, Countess Luann.
After I texted in the group chat about how I wanted the remix, I listened to Money Can't Buy You Class before, and it kind of blends into Money is Everything, like kind of nice.
That's the least surprising thing I've ever heard because it
It
is
kind of feels
divine intervention.
intentional.
Yeah. I will say, Money is Everything reminds me of a certain artist that Drew despises, but
Oh.
it reminds me a lot, specifically the chorus of like early 2000s Gwen Stefani. Like I could
Oh.
totally see that being on like Love Angel Music Baby.
I see that.
Does it make you like the
Yeah.
song less?
No.
Well,
No.
because you don't like her.
No, I'm not a Gwen Stefani fan.
No, you call her a homewrecker every time we talk about her.
Well, we didn't have to go that far on the pod.
I mean, she is like a Republican now, so
Yeah, she's doing her 90-day prayer challenge.
yeah.
I will say her makeup always looks great. She does not like ever go out with like a bad beat face. I
She
will
has
give
a
her
makeup
that.
brand, and I know have never
Give,
known. Okay, well, I was gonna say I've never known what it's called because
the
the
packaging
calligraphy,
sucks.
yeah, the packaging is awful, and the level of intense calligraphy in the logo like makes it
Wait,
illegible.
what's the brand called?
Give,
Gwen Stefani Give.
it's awful.
Oh, why does it look like Gixv?
Right. Like you walk it, you walk past it in Sephora and you can barely even tell what it is.
So
Honestly, like
what?
I don't know for a fact that it's called that.
So simply, why would you make the I an X? Like just eyes
Right,
are
like it's
just
not even her name. Like it's not even like making her name into the logo.
and like I
Madam
feel like
X.
normally like well
Well, no, I was gonna say
servitude.
like Madam X is a hollaback girl. Okay,
Madam
continue,
X is a
sorry.
rich girl.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Madam X is cool.
Okay, now that song I like.
There's a lot that can be done with this.
Oh my God, that is so funny. Oh my God, Maria. I you know the way to my heart is Madam X references.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
Oh,
You did that.
I did the thing.
Okay. So, okay, millennial. Oh my God, I did the thing.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say when I'm like, yeah, I did that. I did the thing.
Wait, speaking of millennials, should we make a Pop Girlies BuzzFeed quiz.
Oh my God, that would be so
Like, which
fun.
pop girly are you?
Guys, you know one time I made a BuzzFeed quiz and it went viral on BuzzFeed.
I
No, could you
forgot.
do it?
We were
And it
friends
is
when this
it
happened.
yes, because it was what Taylor Swift album are you?
Yeah,
Wait, are you able to like pull up the stats of like how much engagement it has?
Oh,
that's all Maria cares about.
you think I have my BuzzFeed login information from 2019?
I don't know. I'm curious. I don't
No, but
know.
I do. I like
The
made
fake
it.
emails that you probably made went
Yeah, no,
wild.
exactly. Exactly. The username was probably like lover forgot you existed 13 at gmail.com.
But
But
it's like 133 because someone already took
no,
13.
literally. But what was funny is I remember making it when I was really bored and then nothing happened, so I was like, this is stupid. And then like the next day I went back to BuzzFeed and it was like number one on like viral trending quizzes.
Yeah.
And it was just funny. And I remember it was Thanksgiving 2019 and I did make everybody at my family take it. Um
Oh,
yeah, so there we go.
wow. That's awesome.
What's history? But I think we should do one. What pop girly are you?
Would it be
Yeah.
like out of us or out of our pop girlies?
Out of us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Arguably more interesting.
inarguably. Inarguably more interesting, impactful, important, and historical.
Yeah. Yeah. But maybe based, well, actually, no, never mind. I was gonna make a joke about Pop Girly Stadium, but I don't think it was gonna work, so
It's
Okay.
okay.
yeah.
Pop Girlies Stadium is also nothing to laugh about. It's the most
No.
serious architectural
Yeah.
endeavor in human
Right.
history.
Yeah, there's no need to invalidate the existence and validity of Pop Girly Stadium by making a silly joke about it.
God,
That
I
would
can't
be
wait.
not classy.
I can't wait for Wrigley Stadium to be nothing compared to Pop Girly Stadium. I've had it up to here with the Cubs fans.
Yeah, same.
If you're
It's
a
too much.
Cubs fan, get off my live chat. This is not a safe space for you. You make my life hell. And on that note, should
Yeah.
we get into our hot tracks, the songs that we've been listening to the last week?
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, Drew, you're gonna kick everything off for us.
Okay. Um, so I it was so funny. I went into our chat. We have a little kiki before we start recording, and I was like, "You guys, I think we're all gonna have the same hot track this week." And then no one else thought the same thing. So I'm gonna give Mother Cain her flowers. My hot track is Nettles by Ethel Cain. Ethel Cain
Mm.
returned to show us how music is made.
I mean,
Um,
it's so good.
to love me is to suffer me.
To love me is to suffer me is that tweet that Maria sent today of that caption with, "Oh, that's true.
You're
You're
totally
totally
right.
right." And you're right about that.
And yeah, to love me.
Y'all better buckle up for our Willoughby Tucker episode of Pop Girlies
Oh my
because
God.
We have to do Preacher's Daughter before. Like we have to pregame with Preacher's Daughter.
yeah.
100%. 100%.
Did you guys see that video going viral of that like twink who is Willoughby Tucker talking about like how he got on the cover?
Yes, but I didn't watch the whole thing.
No. Oh, it's the person who's actually on the
Yeah,
cover.
yeah, the person who's actually on the cover. It was funny too because it was like the most like uninteresting story. Like it's like not
Yeah.
like
Like
TikTok
I
Did
worthy
they
got
at
just like
I
all.
submit for it and
it
then
was
get
Yeah,
like
it
a
was
it?
4 minute long
literally
video and I was like,
it
wait,
was
this is
4 minutes
interesting
long
or exciting.
of he submitted something and
He
went
applied for
and
a
Ethel
job and
was
got the
nice.
job.
Yeah.
But
But like
hey, he
congrats. I
gets to
mean,
be on the cover of history.
like you
I
get
mean,
to be
I
he's Willoughby
I
Tucker.
really
Willoughby
feel like
Tucker.
that album is going to be everywhere when it comes out.
See, this year I think has been I mean, I don't know. I've been preaching and praying and sitting on this, but I really think that last year, obviously, I feel like the releases were maybe more high profile, but the releases this year have just been hitting so hard for me. They really have been.
Yeah, I
I have to
agree.
be truthful. I really do.
I agree.
I mean, it's only the first week of June, and we've already had the newest book of the Bible released.
Newer
Sure.
Testament.
by Addison Rae. You know,
Right.
we're not even going to be ready for Willoughby by the end of the summer.
No.
No.
Because we'll get Virgin before that.
Well, and I quit.
Right.
We also got, did anybody listen to the new Marina album?
No.
I
Wait, I have sorry, I have a funny story, but it's about Marina. So wait, Maria, you go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I didn't even finish the first track.
See, that's funny because that was my favorite one.
Well, I
Oh,
wasn't like hating it, but they were just like all of these new Marina tracks have just like some random creative choice where I'm like, why is this in
Yeah.
here? It's crazy. And I like had listened to all of Addison and then I started Princess of Power and then I was like, I definitely see like the enjoyable parts of this and then I was like, oh God, I just have to go back to Addison.
is that
Well,
the name
because
of the first track, Princess of Power?
yeah.
It's the name
And
of the
it's,
album and the first track.
The
yes,
album is called Princess of Power.
Yeah,
yes, or
girl.
pop for short.
Oh.
Yeah. What were you gonna say though?
I was talking to friend of the pod, Queen Melissa at lunch, and I was like, "Hey, she's a famous Pop Girlies listener."
Yes.
And I was saying how I thought that we were all gonna have the same hot track, and then she goes, "Oh, is it from Arena?"
Queen.
I was like, "Oh, uh-uh."
I keep seeing a lot of tweets though of people being like, "Whoa, why did Marina like drop the song of the year?" And it's
Those
like
have to be
somehow,
paid for.
yeah, and I'm like,
You do you think she paid Sabrina
"Totally."
Carpenter to post about it?
Did Sabrina Carpenter post about Marina?
Yeah.
Whoa. I
Whoa.
saw that
Levi,
Miranda
I've
posted.
never seen Levi more shocked.
Oh my God. The charitable queen.
You're like so shook at that.
That just doesn't make any sense to me why she would do that.
I saw Marina posted that like she was shouting out like a crowdfunded billboard that her fans had put together to
Oh
like promote her
dear.
album. It's like, whoa.
Marina, that's not helping
We're
the
kind of Marina
can't afford
haters.
lunch. The thing
It's
is,
just
I'm not a hater. I want the best for the people I love.
yeah. It's just like hard because when she even does like a return to form, everyone's like, tacky and tired. And it's
That's
like,
what it's like being a
oh.
Katy cat.
Like I
Tacky,
truly want
tired.
like tacky and tired. No, but it's like truly like she's the kind of like public like pop figure that it's like truly want the best for you, but like somehow nothing is sticking anymore.
Oh my God. Well, Alex Awishi, also friend of the pod, read me the other day this statement that she made about pride. Did you guys see this?
No.
No.
Oh my God. It was crazy. I'm trying to find it. Uh, it was something like, oh my God, I'm gonna butcher it because it was so crazy. It was like, gays are really more evolved than straight people. You have come to teach all of humanity. It,
She needed
I
those first
butchered
week
it.
sales so bad.
No, I butchered it because what she said was so absolutely insane. I don't think I can find it though. I don't even know where he found it. Like I don't know if this was like something she said like in like an interview or something. I don't know, girl. She's
I don't
something
know.
though.
Love.
Okay, I need
Yeah,
more hot
Nettles.
tracks.
Oh, I found it. I found it. I found it. I found it. Okay. You're all here for a reason to teach humanity. Gay people are evolved in ways that straight people aren't. Your souls chose this path for whatever reason because you're strong people. I'm continually inspired by this community. That's so funny.
Yeah. Then also like implying that it's the job of the marginalized group to teach
To
the other people.
girl, she's not she's trying.
Yeah.
She's trying so hard. Like so hard.
Well, Maria,
Love
would you
this
like to
girl.
share what your hot
Yeah,
track
what's your
is?
hot track?
Yeah. My hot track is by a new somewhat new artist for me, but I found this song from one of my day lists on Spotify, which is when, like, I think Spotify, maybe every like 5 hours, like they give you this playlist where based on the time of day and either genres or of music that you've been like recently listening to, or maybe things that Spotify might think you'll like based on your algorithm, like they update this playlist every 5 hours or so throughout the day. So I checked it out the other day and I can't remember what it gave me because like notably Spotify will give it like these kind of random generated names and usually they're like kind of funny. So I can't remember what the actual genre it was giving me was, but I found this song on it and I thought it was super cool. And it's by an artist called Kilo Quiche, and the song is called Digital Emotional. And
Mm.
it's this really cool vibe. It has this like really interesting cadence, but like the motif of the song is like digital love, like love in the digital era kind of vibe. But I thought the song was really fun and really cool. So, yeah, I was excited about like having somewhat of a more like new out of the box song for myself to bring to the table as a hot track. So, that's my hot
Cool.
track.
That artist name is cool. Kilo Quiche.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had known about her before because one of her songs was featured in the first season of Euphoria. And the song's called Taking Responsibility. But like when the first season of Euphoria came out, I listened to the soundtrack to it all of the time. Like literally listened to it all the time for some reason. So yeah, I knew that one song. Like at the moment now, like I can't remember how it goes because I haven't listened to it in a while. But yeah, that's my hot track. So yeah.
Cool.
Love.
Cool.
Yay.
Well, mine is I was having a really hard time figuring something out, honestly, because I've been listening to so much of Addison. And before the record dropped, I had been listening to pretty much exclusively Taylor. But since I covered Taylor last week in my hot track and kind of talked about, this experience of getting to like go back to the original recordings and really listen to the first six albums, I'm gonna talk about a moment that I was having like right before all that happened. Um, I was on such a Grimes kick, really revisiting my problematic fave. And specifically, my favorite album from hers, Are Angels, one of my favorite albums of the 2010s. It really is so incredible. I know Maria also loves that album, and we have definitely bonded over that. And I feel like I know I would do it someday, and I'm sure that you would probably like. I feel like it will happen sometime on the podcast someday somehow. But I'm going to pick, I think, Flesh Without Blood as my as
Yes.
my hot track. That song is so good.
Oh my God, it's so good.
And it's like kind of like bonkers and demented in the best way. And it is like both this like perfect sugary like pop kiss off, but it's also this like just incredibly demented, weird, strange, off-kilter song. Like all those things exist, and it is sugary and it is bizarre and odd. It's amazing. That song is so good.
It's so good. And that's a video too where like a lot of it takes place in like a tennis court, right?
Yeah, and she's in that like
Yeah.
kind of like Marie Antoinette kind of
Yes,
outfit.
yes. Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. And yeah, and just like I love that like I've always loved the imagery of the title too, Flesh Without Blood. Like I've just always thought that was a very cool like
Yeah.
phrase.
Yeah. Yeah, and the lyrics are really interesting too.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Oh, it's just so good.
God, we didn't know how good we had it.
I know. Yeah, I remember I was telling Levi like I got really into Grimes like maybe exactly a week and a half before COVID happened. Which is like such an interesting time to be like, whoa, like I always knew that Grimes was like this artist, but I've never listened to her music before. And then the world obviously shut down. But yeah, oh my gosh. I just like remember doing this like huge deep dive on her music like while I was in college at the time, and it was just like so fun. Like watching all of her videos and stuff. But
It's
yeah,
I
kind of
love
crazy with how if you hadn't done that, COVID wouldn't have happened. You standing Grimes brought on COVID.
who knows?
I love Benny Drama's impersonation of her. It's so good. Have you guys seen that?
No, unfamiliar.
He impersonates her as a Girl Scout.
Wait, why do I think I
It's
have
so
seen this
good.
actually?
I
I
probably
actually do
sent it to
think
you.
I do think I have seen it. Yeah, I do think I've seen it. But no, Flesh Without Blood, so good. Everyone should listen to Our Angels. It's such a good album. But it is not what we're here to talk about today. Nuh-uh. This
No,
moment has
ma'am.
been anticipated. People have been waiting for it, begging for it even. I know that since August 2024, for almost a year, I have been panting breathlessly for this moment to arrive. Yes, Maria?
Oh, can I also say this might be an incredible full circle moment because I'm pretty sure that Diet Pepsi was the first ever hot track.
Hot track.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely was my first hot track. And was it
Yeah,
the
and
first?
Ethel was also
Yeah, Ethel was also in the
my
first episode.
first, and she's, entered a new era.
Wow.
And then yours was that romance
Yeah, it was
Fontaines
Fontaine
Bugs. But
CC.
you're
BC.
right, though. Diet Pepsi, I think I went first that episode. So Diet Pepsi literally
Yeah,
was the first one ever said.
literally the first hot track.
I
Wow.
mean, that makes sense because in a lot of ways, Diet Pepsi is the first song to ever exist, if
Yeah.
you really think about it. So,
Yeah.
it's reflective and it's just accurate, really.
Yeah.
Right.
Like this is like having seen a child grow up, you know? It's just crazy.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, uh, I am so excited to announce that we are doing this week the debut album from Addison Rae, Addison. Applause,
Woo!
applause, applause. Everyone is clapping.
Yeah, everyone on planet Earth just stood up from what they were doing and started cheering.
Yeah, that earthquake that you just felt, it was Addison praise. Okay. So, I normally do my like big long things. I think this one is going to be a little shorter than normal, but I think there's some interesting history here and just like I think everybody's kind of at least somewhat familiar with her career arc. It's very interesting and incredibly unique. So, just some background on her as a person before we get into the record itself. Addison Rae Easterling, which I didn't know was her last name, and that's kind of like a sleigh last name. Her initials are literally R, ARE.
That's fun.
That's kind of cool. But she's known professionally as Addison Rae, has had a interesting path to her place now as a budding pop star. Born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, Addison briefly attended Louisiana State University in 2019 before dropping out. Why did she drop out, you might be asking yourself? Well, let me tell you. She began rapidly gaining popularity on the then budding social media app TikTok. As her popularity on the app rose, she moved to LA to pursue life as an influencer. She has since become the fifth most followed individual on TikTok with over 88 million followers. She's technically the sixth most followed account because TikTok, the account, is ahead of her at fifth place. But in terms of like individual people, she is fifth. Her early social media presence was defined by videos of her dancing to trending music, really, the height of like a TikTok dance. That was like so much of like what she pushed and the kind of content that she created. In the current press cycle for Addison, she has talked about record companies like sending her money to promote music, and she would like do dances for certain artists. Like an artist I love, Licka Lee, her record label sent
Oh
her
yeah.
$20 to do a dance to So Sad, So Sexy, which is a great,
$20.
yeah, $20.
That's
Yeah,
it?
that's it, girl. That's all Licka Lee's worth to them. Rude.
Damn.
Yeah. You write possibility, you're worth at least 70. Let me tell you. So,
Girl, 20K for
yeah,
Addison Rae?
yeah. Well, but this is also like 2019, so like right when like TikTok was before I think
Yeah,
TikTok
I
really
guess.
became the kind of influential force that it is right now in music. So that's where she started. And in 2020, she signed with a talent agency, WME, and she began branching out of just solely TikTok. She started a podcast with her mom of the same in the same year. She had a very publicized appearance on Jimmy Fallon where she taught him trending TikTok dances. In August 2021, she starred in a Netflix original film, He's All That, and was featured in the slasher film Thanksgiving in November 2023. In March 2021, she made her first move towards a music career with the release of debut single Obsessed. This was an independent release, so paid for out of her own pocket. It was not a success. It's critically panned. I think universally derided on the internet, and it almost single-handedly discouraged her from continuing to pursue music. She had also been working on a debut album, and Obsessed was supposed to kind of usher that in, and all of that was scrapped. So demos of some songs began to leak online where they soon reached cult status. I think people began listening to them ironically before they realized that unironically, a lot of them were really, really great. And so, kind of as a response to this, like growing cult appreciation for these demos and these kind of early songs, she released her debut EP, AR, in August 2023. The EP features songs like I Got It Bad and To Die For with Charlie XCX, who was an early mentor and indicator that Addison had the potential to be accepted as a serious artist. If somebody like Charlie can co-sign her, why couldn't she go farther than just TikTok star trying to sing a little bit? So she signed a major label record deal with Columbia Records through a pitch meeting that this was interesting. She talked about this in the New York Times. No music was actually played during this meeting, but rather what was talked about were aesthetic ideas and descriptive words. She came in with a mood board to describe the feeling she wanted her music to evoke. And so this had references to other artists, performances, visuals, types of music, genres, and it really just kind of painted a picture of the vibe and atmosphere that she wanted to create with her music. And so something must have resonated in that meeting because she landed the deal. In March 2024, she was featured on the remix of Von Dutch by Charlie XCX. Very famously, she screams on it. And this primed the way for her musical breakthrough in summer 2024. So, getting into the album release, normally I like to talk about the content of the album and kind of its creation before discussing the release. However, I think that the string of singles and the way that they were released is very integral to the experience of the album and understanding Addison as an artist. So we're going to do that first. Her first major label single, Diet Pepsi, was released on August 9th, 2024. This was the first musical offering from the album and the first indication, really, of what her musical identity would be. It is much more evolved and specific than the songs on the debut EP. Diet Pepsi is an alt pop, synth filled song about young love. Critics noted the comparisons to Lana Del Rey, who is a clear inspiration not just on Diet Pepsi, but throughout the entire record. The song was universally praised by critics. Pitchfork ranked it the 13th best song of 2024, and it became a viral hit online. It peaked only at number 54 on the Billboard Hot 100, which I do think is still pretty impressive for somebody with virtually no radio backing in the United States, but it peaked within the top 10 in Ireland, Singapore, and most impressively, the United Kingdom. The song's atmospheric production, breathy and sultry vocals, and evocative lyrics became early hallmarks of her sound. Follow up singles were Aquamarine, High Fashion, and Headphones On, and those were released on October 25th, 2024, February 14th, 2025, and April 18th, 2025, respectively. Each explored a slightly different musical sound while continuing to build the atmospheric, cool, sultry, slightly surreal world of Diet Pepsi. Shortly after the release of Headphones On, the album was officially announced on April 23rd, 2025. The song Fame is a Gun was released as a single on May 30th, 2025, before the album was released in its entirety on June 6th, 2025. So the album was virtually made only by three people. So Addison Rae, Elvira Anderfjord, who just goes by Elvira, and Luca Closer, or Klosser. I think that's probably how you say it, Luca Klosser. So Elvira and Luca, they both kind of belong to like Max Martin's imprint of writers. People might be familiar with Elvira's name because she's worked with Taylor on remixes of songs like Love Story and Willow. Like she's Miss Dancing Witch. Everyone remember the Dancing Witch version and all the different witch versions? Elvira's the Dancing Witch. Elvira also produced Message in a Bottle and Girl at Home from Red Taylor's version. So all
Oh,
Swifties are probably familiar with Elvira's name. But both her and Luca are kind of part of Max Martin's like camp and like mentees of songwriters and producers. And so all three of these women have writing credits on every single song, and Elvira and Luca produced the entire record. Additionally, Lost and Found and High Fashion were also written with Tuve Bourbon. I think it is very cool, and we have to know incredibly rare, that a mainstream major label studio album was written and produced entirely by women. That just like doesn't happen. Unfortunately, behind the scenes work, technical work, production work in the music industry is still very dominated by men. And so I just think it's really cool that this album exists and is only created by women. I also think that you can really hear it in the music that this was an album created by a very small, close knit group of people. Sometimes I think when you work with a lot of different writers and producers, or just collaborators in general, it's really easy to lose a sense of cohesion and to lose a thread tying things together. But despite the different sonic elements, I think this is an incredibly cohesive album. I think all these songs sound like they fit together really well. This is definitely a pop record with a lot of varying sonic influences, including alt pop, trance, trip hop, and dance music. I think that it needs to be noted that there are some heavy 90s and early 2000s influence on here. I think a lot of people have talked about kind of artists that Addison Rae is clearly inspired by, people like Madonna and Britney and Lana. I think Janet is definitely an inspiration as well. And what ties together all these different sounds and genres is a consistent feeling: sensual, cool, hazy, dreamy. All the vocals on here are kind of gauzy, they're light, they're whispery. Addison is creating a character that is both cheeky and sincere. The album touches on many different themes, such as young love, liberation, fame, and frivolity. Towards the end of the record, the songs become more vulnerable and a bit darker. She alludes to her parents' failed marriage multiple times. She talks about the fear of getting replaced. On times like these, she really explores the things in her life causing her to feel like she is just out of control and really confused and lost. I think overall, to me, this record really is about coming into one's own and accepting not only life, but who you are as a person, which is definitely something that's really resonating with me at my time in my life. Reception. The album has received very positive reviews, I would say, both from critics and online. I would say probably like the online response is a bit more positive, just because I think that like I think critics are probably going to be a bit more reserved and skeptical of an artist like Addison Rae, but I think for what this album is, it's been a huge critical hit. So reviews are still getting published, so this might change, but currently the record has a 79 on Metacritic, which is great. A huge get for her was the Pitchfork review that was published this morning. They gave it an 8, which is an amazing score, especially for a TikToker turned musical artist. Like that's just really insane. I guarantee you if like Charlie D'Amelio was releasing an album, she would not be getting an 8. I definitely recommend you read that article. I thought that was a really well written article. I also really liked the review that was published in Vulture. I thought that was a really well written and interesting piece. So overall, I think the reviews have really praised the production, the unique blend of her influences, and the overall atmosphere created on the record. So that's what I want to talk about. I think that there's a lot to discuss. I think we could, you could talk a lot about the career path, how she ended up here, how she went from, TikTok dances and trying to be an actress to now being what looks like to be a successful musical artist. And kind of, I think you can talk about where she's going to go from here. I mean, there's just a lot to talk about, as well as the album itself, which I think is really, really great. So I think we're going to start things off with Drew.
perfect. Well, thank you so much for your breakdown. Um, yeah, I've been familiar with Addison Rae for a really long time. I don't remember when the first time I became kind of um familiar with her. I think it was like maybe 2020. I think she did like a few collabs with like some YouTubers that I follow, and she just seemed like such a nice human. Like I think her kind of personality that she gives off in all of the content that she creates is like not one that you would associate with like influencer culture, which I think is really cool that like she's having this huge moment in pop culture. Um, but I listened to her music for the first time right before Diet Pepsi came out. I listened to the AR EP. And I like a lot of the songs. I love the Lady Gaga song. What's that called again?
Nothing
Nothing
on but the
on.
radio.
Right,
Hmm.
yes. I love that one.
Is that your fave?
Um, I think so. Is
Maria,
that, yeah.
is that your fave from the EP?
Yes. Yeah,
Well,
but what's the I Got It Bad is so
I Got
good.
It Bad is
That
my
one's
favorite.
good.
Oh my God, it's so
I
good.
Got It Bad makes me feel feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
It's
So I
so
was
good.
like, I was ready for Diet Pepsi, and I had a bad listening experience the first time I listened to it. I like had just woken up and I had seen all the online discourse about it, and so I was like, well, I'll just listen to it. And I was like trying to listen to it, like just to listen to it. I wasn't like really like investing myself into it. And so I regret doing that. But the second time I listened to it and I recognized its brilliance, and yeah, I just think it's so cool. I think it's like one of the coolest songs I've ever heard. The key change in it is so iconic, and yeah, I think it's like one of the best like first singles that like a pop girl has ever done. So I was really excited for this album to come out. And I loved like kind of because there was kind of a long waiting period between Diet Pepsi and Aquamarine, but I loved getting Aquamarine as the second single. Um, I felt like she did that just for Levi, like a mermaid song, Madonna inspired.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She was waiting.
Which we should know came out the same day as Disease.
Yeah, it was
That's
Aqua
right.
Disease.
Aqua Disease Week.
The two
Yeah,
queens of pop came to save music.
Yeah.
right. So yeah, that was amazing. And then yeah, so the next single after that was High Fashion, and I listened to it, and I kind of only listened to it once because I wasn't like immediately obsessed with it. And so then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna wait till the rest of this comes out, because I knew that it was gonna flow a lot better with the rest of the album. And then the other songs, I kind of did the same thing. Like I kind of just listened very briefly and then uh, kind of left it for the rest of the listening experience, which I'm really glad that I did because uh, I really enjoyed listening to this front to back for the first time. I actually listened to it on the bus going to work, which I thought was actually a fun way to listen to it. Um, yeah, I love what she does with like atmosphere on this. I think it's really cool how she's has her own kind of sound. Like and I don't, it feels like a place when you're listening to it, but I can't describe what the place would be. Like it's kind of a weird thing. Um, but I just love everything that she's doing. I love the album cover. Um, it gives me very like 2005 like to 2007. Like it gives me kind of like Headstrong by Ashley Tisdale, which is one of my favorite albums. It gives that in the cover to me. The coloring is exactly the kind of place that I was kind of mentioning earlier. It feels exactly like what the album sounds like, and I love the crazy ass font of her name. Like I think I don't know, it just works so well for me. Um, so yeah, I think I don't know if I want to wait and save this until my kind of top three in me. Um, but I'll just say no. So I love her use of interludes in this, especially like having heard High Fashion only the one time and then having heard Headphones On only one time, I believe, as well. Hearing the interludes to those songs and how everything flowed together was really great. I thought that it was fantastic. The production on this, yeah, it really takes you to like another place. That's like really all I can describe for how it feels. Yeah, and I love all the influences too. I'm sure you guys can clock even more influences than I had, but like Britney was a huge one that I found. And I'm not like the biggest Britney Spears fan, but I love kind of what she was doing with that. Obviously Lana, I get a lot of Lana from it too. So yeah. I'll save the rest for like highlights and me's for the things. But yeah.
Perfect.
Yay.
Yay!
Thanks.
Yay, yay, yay. I'm so happy you got on board with Diet Pepsi. I couldn't live in a world where you were a Diet Pepsi
I literally
denier.
was not on board for like 6 hours.
I know, but in those 6 hours, my life
And
was
I
bleak.
had not listened to it fully. So I knew that I needed to actually listen to it.
The thing about Diet Pepsi, it just is like, it's the great uniter of humanity. I have not met a single person who doesn't like Diet Pepsi,
You put the dye in the Pepsi and it's just good.
and it's just good. Even my friend of the pod, Irene, who this is not her kind of music, she listened to the album. It is not for her, but even she knows Diet Pepsi is the way.
Right.
Yeah.
And on that note, Maria, off you go.
Yay. Okay. Well, this is so exciting. So fun to be full circle. But yeah, I didn't listen to her AR EP until like sometime last year. Like I think like a little bit before Diet Pepsi came out. And yeah, obviously loved the Gaga song. Like some of them were hit or miss, but like the highs are high and then the lows are like on that. Um, but I remember too during COVID, like when she released Obsessed, and I was just like, oh gosh, this is fun to observe from afar, but this is like so not for me. Like I think the public persona of Addison Rae and like while she was starring in those movies, this is just like so not for me, you know? Um, but for some reason, like when Diet Pepsi had come out, like I took a bit to listen to it. And then I think it was like maybe right before we actually started Pop Girlies is when I listened to it and I'm just like, whoa, this is so not what I expected at all. Like this is so cool. And I think the evolution of Addison Rae has just been like so interesting to watch. And it does really seem like she's being authentic and genuine. 'Cause like I feel like she just has this charisma that is like really difficult to just like paint onto somebody or like to just kind of like be that artificially genuine and charismatic and like bubbly, you know?
Hmm.
Um, but again, it does also just kind of make me think of like the celebrity of it all, of how celebrities only see what you want them, what they want you to see, you know? And it's like, of course, like I do definitely, and hearing, you know, what you had to say, Levi, about like her presenting all of her thoughts and ideas of like this album, and like kind of her coming up with that herself, like I definitely think like this all does seem like her, you know, like what she wanted to create does seem very real, but then like just something where it's like such a dramatic shift in her public persona just kind of makes me think of like all of the calculations that happen behind the scenes that the public does not see. And like this doesn't even have to do anything with her music or anything, but I just think that's so interesting to observe as just like someone in the general public when like years go by and she is a completely different celebrity than she used to be, you know?
Hmm.
So I just find that very fascinating to like witness from afar. But you could definitely still see a through line of talent because she's always been an incredible dancer, albeit like the TikTok dances aren't like technically um like fascinating or anything. But and she's also just a very fun person to stalk on her Instagram, and you can tell there's a big chunk that she got rid of from like her TikTok career. But she left a couple from like when she was in high school, and she was clearly like an incredibly talented dancer. I mean, I'm not sure too much about like the details of her background,
Oh,
like
I
in
should,
that
she was a
sense.
competitive dancer. I didn't mention that in the background,
Oh,
but she like grew up, she was a competitive dancer.
yeah, yeah. So yes, and that makes complete sense because there's like a couple photos that are still on her profile from like maybe like 2015, 2016, where she's like doing these incredible leaps and jumps, and it's like professional photos of her dancing. So it's just like you can tell that there's like she was very destined to be someone displaying one of her talents in some sort of fashion. So yeah, I've just found that very interesting, and I feel like she has this aura of like the coolest girl you went to high school with, who was so incredibly popular, did every sport and every extracurricular and excelled at all of them, plus was just an incredibly kind and genuine person. Like it was like that kind of like it girl from your high school who
Hmm.
like did everything and had it all. You know? Like she just like gives off that vibe to me where it's like she's so like relatable and approachable, but then also has like this like, mystique. I just feel like everything that they've crafted for her to be at this point is just so interesting. So that's kind of what I wanted to say about like the allure of her celebrity, you know? But talking about the actual music, again, I think it's just so interesting and so unexpected, and I think is palatable to lots of different people depending on maybe your like avenue of pop music that you enjoy. Because we've talked about her other influences, again, like Britney, Lana, Madonna. I get a lot of the Bjork influences from this, like especially
Oh, I
on
do
the back
too.
half.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just crazy
When
that
it
like
goes into like trip hop territory, it's very like debut and post to me.
yeah, yeah. Like it's so crazy that this album by Addison Rae is
It's
like
insane.
Confessions on a Dance Floor and Ray of Light and Post by Bjork.
Well, and I get a lot of bedtime stories.
Yeah. I think in
And
the middle it hits
also,
bedtime stories.
also kind of funny that this was my hot track because I think Fame as a Gun is a grime song.
Oh my God, I can so see that.
I think there's something about the way that her vocal sits on that that like reminds me a lot of Grimes. And I think Grimes, like the best Grimes songs have this like glitchiness to them and this kind of
Yeah.
like twitchy propelling energy. And Fame as a Gun completely has that to me.
Yeah. And it's got like those high-pitched vocals that are like also very Grimes.
Yes. Yes. And then like I think also we should know I hear Charlie as well, and I definitely hear Charlie's influence. I think especially on New York. New
Yeah.
York definitely feels Charlie-esque. So yeah, not to interrupt, but please continue.
No, no. Yeah, so it's just so interesting to see. And like I also was like watching an interview with her where she was like talking about some of her influences. And like she mentions, and this is just funny for the three of us because she mentions, of course, Madonna, but then is like, oh, also like specifically like the Girly Show, which is so
I
tea
saw
because
that.
we
Yes, I
just
saw
watched the
that.
Girly Show together. So like that is so fun. And like I said this in the group chat, and I know that like you guys haven't listened to this album, so I'm not sure if it like permeated, but like specifically times like these like really gives me Radiohead a little bit. And it kind of like specifically there's the song on their album called Kid A that's called In Limbo, where like tonally they're pretty different, but like it's got that kind of like really muddled piano kind of situation going
Mm.
on. And like I heard times like these for the first time, I was like, oh my God, what is this reminding me of? And it took me a bit, but I was like able to organically like figure out what I was trying to compare it to. And I was like, whoa, weird. Wondering if this is clicking with anybody else. Which, you know, who knows. But yeah, just like the influences on this are so interesting, but it's all still very like unique to her. Like it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm gonna take like Ray of Light Madonna copy paste. Like it doesn't feel like a one-to-one comparison of like, oh, obviously this is what's going on here. Like it still has her like signature on it, which I think is cool. And is also interesting for a debut album to like be like, oh yes, well this is so her. Like it feels so true to her while we're still like in the like elementary stages of understanding her creativity to this extent.
Well,
So, yeah.
it's also so cool because she's so influenced by so many other people, but also like listening to it, any song on this, you're instantly you know it's an Addison Rae song,
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
completely
which
agree.
is so cool.
Yeah. And I think too, like the album cover is really neat because kind of like you said, Drew, like the album cover does feel very true to the sounds of the album. And I think it has a lot to do with like the airiness of the whole thing. Like even if like high fashion, for example, gets like a little bit more like rougher, like electronically, like the whole thing still has like a loftiness to it that doesn't make those like heavier parts feel as like weighted down. And that yeah, and that does feel very like true to her kind of vibe that's going on. So like that all around is just like interesting. And something too, just like with the visuals, I think she like this is like such a cool like first go around of like her as a visual artist. And it just makes me very excited for like her trajectory in the future and like what she's going to do visually moving forward because I think all of these music videos are also so cool.
Hmm.
And like specifically, I thought the Fame is a Gun one's really neat because it kind of captures this vibe and aesthetic that I think has kind of been carried throughout the entire era, which is kind of like that like whimsigoth kind of vibe of like
Mm.
late 2000s-ish, where it's kind of like that cabaret-ish kind of vibe, but it's not like too theatric and like all of that sort of stuff. And like that video specifically where she's in that like red and white striped tee on the moon and like the background's blue and it has like this very specific like grain over
Hmm.
it, like that video, like something about it was just so tangible and I was just like, wow, this is so interesting. And like obviously all the fashion that like her and her friends are wearing is just like so interesting. Like I feel like it would be so hard to replicate like some of the like styles that she's able to pull off. So yeah, it just makes her all the more interesting. I think that's all I have to say though. I'm definitely excited to get into like our favorite and least favorite tracks, but yeah, I mean like really excited about this whole thing. I'm very excited to like continue listening to this album throughout the summer and just see what she does next because she's just like so incredibly cool.
I couldn't
Yay.
agree with both of you more. I think you guys have really like hit the nail on the head.
Something
Um,
I was gonna ask, because you were when you brought up the music videos, in an era like this, I just kind of wanted to ask, do you guys like prefer something like how she did it, like tiny drops, and then because obviously Diet Pepsi was so huge, and then Aquamarine was kind of big, but not as big. But then the rest of the songs kind of felt like a little small, where we got a lot of the album. And for this, did that work for you?
like
I
releasing a lot of like singles before the
Yeah,
record. Go, Maria.
Sorry. So I personally don't like the amount of singles that we got. I could have done with maybe like two less. Like I think if we just had Diet Pepsi and Aquamarine, like that would have been lovely. Or actually wait, we had five singles. Oh my God. So I could have done with just two. But I do like what she did with every single got a music video at the same time. I do think
yeah.
that's a very fun story to tell, but I don't like a lot of singles.
I don't usually either. I'm kind of torn how I feel about this though, because like I don't want to use the word like messy, but like it feels like I feel like she wanted it to be kind. I feel like she wanted you to go in with a specific energy. Like she kind of wanted
Yeah.
you to have expectations of it kind of being all over the place, like in a great way.
I also think that I agree with you guys. I normally am very like anti a lot of singles because then when the album's released, there's not really that many new songs. I think I personally could have done without Fame as a Gun. I think Fame as a Gun could have just stayed for the record, especially it came out like a week before.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I think the other four, I love it, and I think part of that is because not only is this a debut record, but this is like a huge career pivot and like image pivot that I think Maria talked about really eloquently, and so I feel like she was having to sell people more and like do a little extra work than an artist normally has to do to build a world because not only is she creating this world of this debut album and this kind of experience that she wants you to have, but she's also erasing something at the exact same time.
Right.
And so I think for me, like those first four songs give you a completely accurate and detailed idea of what this album is. I think it could have stayed at those four, but honestly, I liked the amount that we got, and I liked that they were over time because I think it allowed you know time for people to kind of settle into this new image and get on board with things. Like I think if the album had come out in the fall, it would not be as well received
I totally agree.
as it is being now.
Yeah. I think I'm somewhere like in between. Like I don't think because when it was happening when all the singles were coming out, I was kind of like, dang, like I wish she wouldn't be doing this. But when I actually listened to them and I think it's a more personal preference, like I only wanted to listen to them once and not get too like obsessed with them and wait till to digest the whole thing. But it's also hard because I think Levi's exactly right. Like, I think she had to get more people on board. It's just weird because we were obviously on board. Like,
From
we
the
didn't
second, yeah.
need, yeah. So, yeah, I think I would have preferred, though, not to have heard headphones on because
I mean, yeah,
Levi
because
says this thing all the time.
the gag of headphones on is the closer if you hadn't heard
Yeah,
it.
yeah. But I mean, I love all of the songs that she released. I just think I think I would have preferred, like, maybe only getting three singles, like, and
Mm,
not one of them being headphones on. But that I just kind of wanted to ask that because I know that that's kind of been talked about a lot. But yeah, okay, cool,
no, cool, cool. I cool. No, I think that's a good
cool.
conversation. I think that's a good. It's a good thing to talk about. I think, especially because now that streaming is obviously the way that music is consumed, singles there are a lot more like pre-release singles because before you'd release singles like after an album was released because you'd release them to radio, but now that
Right,
doesn't really exist anymore in that same way.
right.
So yeah, it's interesting to talk about. Well, to kind of get into my personal thoughts, I think I share them a lot with Drew and Maria, and I think you can kind of tell what I'm thinking from the way that I introduced the record. But Addison Rae, she's a very interesting public figure to me. I've definitely had a bit of a 180. So I'm not a TikTok person. I have a TikTok account solely so when people send me TikToks, I can watch them. Um, because now you like can't even get on the app. You can't like get on like the web version of it. You have to have the app. And so that's really the only reason why I have TikTok. It's just never something I got invested in. So like I knew who Addison Rae was just because of her massive popularity. I kind of like knew her more, I think, as like a meme. Like there's this like one screenshot of like a whole bunch of tweets of hers where she's like, music is so good. Wow, I love music. Or like there's like this one screenshot when she's like, I love sitting. And she's like sitting on like the ground. So that's kind of how Addison Rae existed to me. I agree with Maria. Obsessed was really not for me. I think it'd be interesting to listen to that song now, knowing like who she is as an artist. But it just I wasn't really interested in it, and I kind of thought it was going to be another one of those like influencer tries to be a musician and fails miserably moments. Uh, but I think it's cool that she stuck with it, and I kind of think an early indicator was that endorsement from Charlie. I don't think Charlie would have endorsed somebody who didn't actually have potential, because I don't think she does stuff like that. I think she's pretty kind of for better or worse, whether you like it or not, I think she like is incredibly genuine and only does things she really believes in. And so I think that endorsement of Addison, I think was very telling. I listened to the EP actually the day that it was released, just because it was kind of getting buzz on Twitter. And I remember being very pleasantly surprised. I was outside on a walk and I was listening to it and I was like, wow, this is good. Like this is actually really good. And it's honestly like music I like go to frequently, especially I Got It Bad. I Got It Bad is a song I listen to like quite a bit. It's one of those songs that if I ever don't know what to listen to but want to listen to something, it's like a go-to for me. And it's I just think it's a great, great, great pop song. And it is different atmospherically and musically, but I think that there's enough similarities of like kind of the structure of the song. There's like the way that the last chorus comes in is like kind of different and tweaked slightly from the first two choruses, which is something that happens a lot on here. There are some like weird turns of phrase, like when she goes, like take off every piece of me till there's only skin on my body. Like that's just kind of a weird that's a weird thing to say. And I think that that's something that I love about this record is I think that there are things that she says that's like that's such an interesting turn of phrase. Like it's weird that you would word it that way. I think an early indication of that was on Diet Pepsi when she says cross gold chain. When any other person would say gold cross chain. But the phrase cross gold is so interesting to me. Um, and so I think all those seeds are present on AR. And then when Diet Pepsi was released, I was just immediately on board. Had never been more on board with anything in my entire life. I think I talked about this in the first episode, but I got to listen to it for the first time when I was in London. And just the experience of like walking around the streets of London and being on the tube, listening to it, this just like incredibly cool, fresh, interesting song from somebody I never thought would be capable of something like that was just such an incredible experience. And, every single has just made me more and more invested in this world that she's created. And I never thought I would say that like Addison Rae's debut album would be one of my most anticipated albums, especially when I'm getting a Lord album in a few weeks. But like, I've been so busy thinking about Addison that I haven't thought as much about Virgin, which is crazy, but it's true. And I have to say, I think this album is really incredible. I've been trying really, really hard to come up with things I don't like about it, and I can't really tell you what I don't like about it. I think it is an amazing debut album. I think it is so fresh and original. I love what both Drew and Maria are saying because you can so clearly hear influences, which first of all are not influences that other pop stars or musical peers are pulling from. I feel like a big trend of the last few years has kind of been like pop punk and like kind of like rock influences. I think Olivia's really done that. Billy has done that a lot. Nobody is like going to like 90s Madonna. I mean, FKA Twigs dipped in that, but she's in a completely different kind of like peer group than Addison Rae. Like no like person with commercial prospects has been like going to let's do a song that kind of like would be like if Britney did a post by Bjork song. Like no one's doing that kind of stuff. And I just find it incredibly fresh. And I honestly think that like it helps sell the authenticity of everything because it's such a unique set of inspirations and touch points and they're mixed together in a way that feels so specific and unique to her. I loved when Drew said that no matter what kind of musical world a song is existing in on here, whether it is kind of hyperpop influenced or trancy or has a bit of like drum and bass and trip hop influence, you hear Addison. You hear it in the way that she's singing. You hear it in the way that the melody sits. You hear it in kind of this like hazy, gauzy feel that the production gives you. There's a lot of like really high kind of falsetto parts. There's a lot of stacked harmonies going on. It just feels so specific to her. And I think at some point, especially when the list of collaborators are so small, like it is on this record, you have to be like, this has to be coming from her. A lot of this has to be coming from her. Like nobody just creates something this specific and unique if they don't have something to say, some kind of unique perspective and identity worth exploring. I think that the album flows incredibly well. I really love the sequencing of it. I really wasn't expecting there to be like an evolution in the listening experience, but I definitely felt it. I think that the songs get a bit heavier towards the end of the record. The trip hop influence definitely comes in towards the end. I mean, times like these and headphones both feel very, very of that sound. And that kind of like slowly becomes the dominating sound of the album. I think like as the record goes on, we start in a much more like surface level frivolous place with New York and money is everything and things are very glamorous and fun and silly and sexy And then I think slowly things become more real, even if like on a song like In the Rain, she's trying to kind of deny her feelings and only let them out when it's raining so people can't see. Like that's still kind of admitting that they're there in some way. And then times like these, I find to be a very, very moving song. I think it's really important to the record. I think Fame is a Gun is really important to the record. This kind of like confession that she is somebody who has wanted to be famous and she is willing to like pay the price and make the sacrifices for her ambition, which I find very refreshing. And then, yeah, I think Headphones On is just a really beautiful way to end the album. I think it kind of ties everything together. It honestly is kind of like that tweet of music is so cool. I love music. I love music in like song form. But there is just something I find very moving about it. This like acceptance and acknowledgement that there is pain in the world and bad things will happen and you will go through hard things in life, but that there's nothing you can do to stop that. So you might as well embrace it and like try to find the beauty in everything as well. I find that to be incredibly moving. And I think that this is like my soundtrack of the summer. I feel very inspired by this. And like, I think that, if she wants to keep going with this, I think she totally could. I know kind of promotional materials have said that this is the first and last album by Addison Rae. I think that means that she's just going to officially drop Rae from her name. And I think she's just going to be Addison, which like I kind of wish she wouldn't do that because I just think Addison Rae is like such an iconic name already. But I think that's what that means. Like, I don't think she's gonna stop music now forever. But if she did, that kind of would be iconic. Like, that kind of would be crazy just to be like one and done. But I think that like there's a lot more to explore here. I think that she only has up to go in terms of especially like vocals and lyrics. I mean, I'm a songwriting person. I'm not saying that she's Joni Mitchell, but I do think there's a lot of interesting things happening lyrically. And I think that there's motifs. I think that like I love that the titles of the interludes come in different songs. I think that she makes a lot of like really interesting, evocative, descriptive scenic references and visuals. I think that like you have a clear idea of who Addison Rae, like the character of the album is. Yeah, I think I think it's a great record. I think it's awesome. And I love it. And I'm really happy that people are loving it. And yeah, I think it's so cool. So that's me. That's where I'm at on Goddessin.
Yay. Something also is like all of her projects so far have been like self-titled in some sort of fashion. So I was
Oh
thinking
yeah, that's
like
true.
I was like if she did continue to release music, like what original titles would she have for like albums or EPs or anything? I'm like, Like if this album wasn't self-titled, I would love to know what other things might have been on the table.
I kind
Well,
of
wasn't it gonna
would
be
have.
mood board or something? Wasn't that what it was gonna be called?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I thought I read something that it was originally called mood board, which I something that you said something about mood board
Well,
earlier.
she made a mood board
Right,
for to
right.
pitch. I don't know that. I mean, that would be a cool name. Yeah, that would be a really cool name. I don't know if I
I
saw
saw
that.
that somewhere that she had that was going to be the name and then she changed it.
Mm.
Oh, wait. Oh, wait. I just saw on, okay, I just went to New York Times and it says a correction was made on June 3rd, 2025. An earlier version of this article included an incorrect early title for Addison Rae's album. It was not going to be called Mood Boards.
Oh, so they lied.
So they lied.
Oh
Right.
my God.
But
Crazy.
you
Which
were
I thought
right
that would have been a
because,
good name, but
Yeah.
well, I kind of feel like Life's No Fun Through Clear Waters would be a cunt title. Like, I think that'd be such a cool title.
yeah.
Because then it would also be like a callback to like the like 20 like the 2000s where like song titles had really long titles, album titles were really long, like the
The,
Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco of it all.
yeah, but also a reference to the Lana of it all as well.
Right.
Wait, what am I missing?
That
Lana's
like
titles.
yeah, like the meme of like Lana Del Rey having really long absurd titles.
Okay. I was thinking like earlier in her career, so I was like, oh, wait, which songs? But isn't it kind of like midway through where they start to get really long?
I know. I'm just referencing two things at the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. Not like early Lana, like just Lana now.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. Like I
Right,
was trying to think back to early Lana and I was like, wait, I'm not getting the reference. But no, I understand what you're saying.
right, right. Sure, sure, sure.
Okay. So, do you want to get into me's and holy trinities?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
How do we want to
Do
do it? Me
do
first?
me's? Yep.
Okay. My me, I think, is going to be controversial to share with the class. Um, and I didn't want to talk about it in my breakdown because I know that I'm probably the only one that thinks this. But my me is actually New York.
Oh,
I I don't love it as an opener. Like I especially like as an opener and then Diet Pepsi being the second track. Like I think it's my least favorite track, but I think also as an opener, it doesn't have like so much to say. Um, so yeah. So I that's my me. I think like this album would literally be like the most perfect thing if like she just kind of and honestly, I don't hate the song. Like I think the song is enjoyable to listen to. I don't think it is comparable to the other songs on here. And I think honestly, like when you have a song like Diet Pepsi and it's like your first song, I think that could have been an insane opener. Especially because we already heard the headphones on of it all. I think it would have been cool to kind of get like the bookends if that's what she was trying to go for, and then kind of make our way to through the journey ourselves. So that's my me.
interesting. I would never have predicted that.
Really? Okay.
Mm-mm. Okay, Maria, your turn.
Oh,
Okay. So I'm having a hard time like trying to anticipate if mine is like a hot take or not. But I think this song is like, I mean, it was definitely my least favorite out of the singles. I think the video for it's awesome, but it kind of has like this like a little bit dated quality to it with like somewhat of his like dubsteppy electronic kind of production that like I'm not the biggest fan of. However, I do love the lyrical quality of the song and I think it's really like fun and silly. But my least favorite song is High Fashion. I like again, I love like I think what didn't she say that her inspiration for this was like Charlie had like offered her drugs and she was like, "No, I don't want drugs."
I think
Like,
that was a meme.
oh, that was a meme?
I
I
it
don't
was
know.
yeah, I think that was a meme. I saw that. I don't think that that was real though, because I looked at the comments and everyone was like laughing about it,
Oh,
like
well,
in like an ironic way.
the thing is though, like she can say the most absurd things and you're like, "Well, yeah, she would say something silly and dumb." So like whatever. But I mean, that doesn't really change my
Right, right,
like
right.
perception of it still of like it's just like so funny of like I don't want your drugs, I'd rather get high fashion. And even if it is like a fabricated quote, I think like the motif of like, no, I don't want drugs. I was just like, I just like want shoes. Like this like very like materialistic, like just kind of like mindset I think is like funny. So yeah, I'm sure that that tweet was probably made up by someone on Stan Twitter. Nevertheless, it was entertaining. But like yeah, I think like that motif in the song is funny, but like the actual song itself, I'm like not crazy about.
That song gives me so Lana for some reason. Like Lana Del Rey would say that.
See, I
Right.
do you want to know who I kind of get from that?
Who?
Especially the production. It reminds me of FK Twig's first album.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Mm,
It
Yeah.
reminds me like of the stuff that she did with Arca, who obviously like did the Aquamarine remix and is
yeah.
somebody that like Addison has talked about being an influence. Um, Maria, I'm right there with you. My me is also high fashion. I will say we are going to get hatred from one of our loyal listeners because that is, I think that is friend of the pod, Alex Awishi's favorite song. And this past
No
weekend,
way.
we've been at a wedding and we have been debating each other the entire time. Because one of my favorite songs, which we'll get into in a second, is one of his least favorite songs. And then High Fashion is that for me. Yeah, I agree with you. I actually do think I may be a little flipped though, because I think I kind of am drawn more to the production than I am to the lyrical content. I think that for me, the like central concept of the song is a little muddled. I feel like that line, I don't want your drugs, I'd rather get high fashion, is that's like an Instagram caption. Like that's not a, I didn't need that to be a song. And it feels just a little scattershot to me. And like it doesn't really fully gel together. And the kind of like silliness of it is, I think, a little bit at odds with the really darker, heavier production.
Yeah.
It's the only one for me that like doesn't fully work. I still think it's interesting and I like listening to it. I especially like the vocal production on the chorus. I think the bridge is really cool and I like kind of the like grimy heavy quality of the synths. It just it doesn't fully connect with me. I think that like maybe it could have taken a little more time in the oven or maybe it's just one of those things like you had to be there. But I will allow Alex Awishi to defend himself
Yeah.
in the Instagram comments.
It's definitely lower for me too. I was completely captivated though by the Lost and Found into High Fashion. Was that
That
like
turn
a,
No,
it
that
was
transition's
insane.
good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I will say also, I think that it works better for me in the album than it does
totally.
as its own. And I also think that there are other singles, again, which I will talk about in my Holy Trinity, where I really like them a lot of singles and then like just completely like fell in love within the context of the album.
Yeah. Accept the
Okay.
pain. We'll get there.
Hmm. Who knows? Okay, Miss Drew, let's do our
Okay.
Holy Trinity, our top three favorite songs of the record.
Okay. This three and four were like so difficult for me. And it's kind of crazy that one of the songs is not in my top three because I love it so much. But my number three is Headphones On.
Mm.
And I'm gonna let Levi kind of go into it later because I have a feeling it might end up on Levi's list. But its placement is something that, maybe takes it higher for me than as a single. And then my number two is Money is Everything.
I knew Money's Everything was going to be in your top three.
It is such a good like second, well, the third track, but it's such a good like after Diet
Drew
Pepsi
has
track.
already erased New York from the headcanon of the album.
Yeah, I kind of already erased it. Like I'm sorry,
He doesn't even consider it on the album.
but like
It's a great second track.
It's a great second track if you just ignore the first track.
right, exactly.
So,
But I love it. I love like everything about it. I love how she kind of does like the funny like screaming like whatever the hell she's saying. I love it. And I knew as soon as I heard it for the first time, I was like, that's one of my favorites. And then my number one, uh, this is like music in its highest form. When I heard this, I was like, I cannot believe that like this song exists. Um, Summer Forever is like I don't know, like y there's listening to music, there's like listening to like Taylor Swift songs, and then there's somewhere in between you're listening to Summer Forever. Like it feels like you're like
Yeah.
separating it from everything else.
Summer Forever to me feels like the kind of song that Lana fans have been wanting her to make again for like a decade.
Lifetimes. Yeah.
And I saw
I
this tweet about it that I thought was really cool where it was like Summer Forever isn't an imitation of a Lana song, it just is a Lana song, which I thought was really interesting because it doesn't feel pastiche at all. It
I
has just
didn't
that same feeling that Lana gives
yeah.
you.
And I personally like when I listen to it, but I also like I don't listen to a lot of Lana Del Rey. I didn't get like Summer Forever as a Lana song as much as like Diet Pepsi.
Oh, I think it is so Born to Die.
Oh, okay.
It is
That's like the
so
album
like
that I'm not as
yeah,
much
it is
like.
so like early Lana to me.
Okay.
Maria, what would you
Because
say?
Um, I would say so. Yeah. I mean, I
okay.
feel like it seems a little bit more like the song itself is a little bit more lyrical. Like it's a little bit more flowy, I think, than things that might be on Born to Die. Like I feel
Yeah,
like
because Born to Die
things
is a
like
little
Born to
hip
Die is like a
hoppy.
little bit more rigid, and this
Hmm.
seems like very like yeah, like fluid and lyrical. But like I didn't think about that when I was listening to it, but like yeah, I think it definitely has like that Lana
And
Oh,
it might
that
be
is so
because I
funny. It hit me
associate.
immediately.
Oh, okay. It might just be because I so associate Diet Pepsi with Lana that
Yeah.
like, and I don't
Which
know Born
also,
to Die as
Diet Pepsi
much.
not being in your top
I
three.
know.
Was she
I'm like
number
kind of
four?
disappointed. Yeah. But like I can't deny.
You
Yeah.
have to accept the
And
pain.
so I have to tell a story. So when I listened to the album, I was on Fame as a Gun and I listened to In the Rain and I was like, "Oh, like maybe I'll come around to this one, but it feels like I feel like when I listen to In the Rain, I feel like the album should be over." And I don't know
Mm,
why. And then I heard headphones on and I was
headphones
like, "No,
on.
it's not over until you
Also,
accept the
I
pain."
love the headphones on video.
So good.
I l- do you not
Wait,
like
Drew, I
it?
thought you said you didn't like it.
No, I don't like the high fashion.
Oh, well, Alex
Wait, did
Awushi's
I
coming for you
say?
because
I
Alex
thought like I
Awushi
thought we were watching
loves the
videos and
high
you were like,
fashion
"Oh, you
video.
didn't like the
No,
headphones."
I do not like the high fashion video. Headphones on is the one where she's in like the wig.
Yeah.
Pink wig, yeah, and she's like riding
Yeah.
the horse.
Was it just that you didn't like the wig?
I don't like the wig, but I like the video.
Oh, okay.
See, I love the wig.
It's just cuckoo crazy, but
I want that pink wig so badly.
That would
When
be
I,
a good Halloween costume.
that
Just
would be
that'd be
so
such a good Halloween.
good.
open
Oh
zip
my
up
God.
hoodie
Wait,
and then the
imagine if
wig.
the Pop Girlies group Halloween costume is all of the different Addison looks. I feel like Maria has to be famous as a gun, Addison.
Yeah, because it's the fame.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because
Oh, right.
the fame is a gun.
Also, I feel like honestly, if you slowed down the tempo of Fame as a Gun and like made it a little bit more punchy, it could be a song on the Fame for sure.
Oh, I agree completely.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also think if you change the production, Money is Everything could be a song in the fame.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
It's Money Honey.
It's Money,
I
Honey.
also kind of think Headphones On could be a Gaga song. That
I'm
Pretty
get
kind of.
chorus.
I'm get girl, you talk about that is bedtime stories,
Oh,
Madonna
fuck.
in her
See,
bag.
I'm not like I get references for this, but I'm not getting all of it because I don't know Born
And
to
it's also
Die
so
or
Bjork too. It is so Bjork. That
I
like
like
oh,
exclusively get Bjork from Headphones On.
which is funny because that was the Iceland video. The video was shot in Iceland and the
Yeah.
photo shoot, which
Yeah.
famously Bjork of Iceland.
right.
Right.
Well, great
Okay,
top
I need
three.
more trinities. Yeah, wait,
Okay,
is New York, well, I guess we'll get into it. Sorry.
okay, Maria.
We would okay. Okay.
Drew hates New York and wants it to die.
Well, I guess I just want to see if it lands in any of yours. Because I didn't get a lot of like initial like feedback if I'm crazy for it being my knee, but I guess it sounds like I'm not, because no one was that shook about it.
Maria,
So my
you
number
go.
three is New York.
I knew you were gonna love New York. It feels like such a Maria song.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like, okay, Pop Girlies listeners though will know, like probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, my hot track was I Love New York by Madonna. And like this isn't exactly that, but like just the notion of like another song about loving New York, that specifically being this good is just so good. And I love how it grows. I love when the beat kicks in and when you mix the New York with the Addison, it's just good.
It's just good.
Like, I don't know.
I'm sorry,
Um
like Drew, you're gonna tell me that you're not a dance whore.
I just like it's a good song, but like how did this make the cut? You know? And then
Easily, let me tell you that.
how did
Easily.
it become the opening track?
I think it is such a good opener.
It was so on the album that it was the first song.
Yeah. It was actually
Okay.
the first one who made it. Diet Pepsi
Okay.
worships at the altar of New York.
Okay.
No, I mean it's like
Works.
I get it. Like it's fine. Like I don't think this needs to be everyone's favorite song. It's not my favorite song, but I think it's so fun and I love listening to it. But I do agree with Drew though that I think it's a little bit clunkety. New York going into Diet Pepsi. Like I'm not in love with the sequencing there. But I do see two universes where where New York is the opener and then something else is second, and then Diet Pepsi is the opener and then something else is second, you know? So, just I'm not loving these two songs back to back. But that's
Okay,
okay.
maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid because I actually love the songs back to back. Because
Oh.
New York gets me like hype. I love the build of New York. And then like I love that like I'm hype, I'm hype, I'm hype, I'm hype. And then all of a sudden I'm the greatest song that's ever existed. And I'm this like cool, summery, hazy, young, immortal, sexy little creature.
But then you're back in the party.
And then I'm back in and then guess where I'm back at? I'm a mermaid in the ocean. So
Right, like
we're on
it's
different visions and fields. I mean, this shit's in multiple areas. That's what you have to understand
it's
about
like
Addison.
the
She's
first four
cooking
tracks is
in
like a
different
multiverse.
dimensions. The first portrait, the entire album.
So, right.
Michelle
Cool.
Yeoh the house. That's
Right.
what this is.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay,
I'm getting
carry on,
it.
Maria.
Yeah. Okay. So, also just have to say, this was such a hard top three to assemble because I would like be like, okay, here's my list, and then I would look at the track list again. I'm like, oh my God, this other song I love just isn't there, and it's so hard. But like, just had to like give that little footnote. My number two is Headphones On.
Hmm.
Um, because yeah, like I love the Bjork of it all. Post is my favorite Bjork album. Um,
And just celebrated its 30th anniversary.
oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've been seeing it like everywhere on Twitter this week.
Oh, that's so tea. Yeah, I love Post and this it just gives so that to me. It also kind of gives me like a little bit like Venus as a Boy from debut.
Oh, I
Um,
love Venus as a Boy.
oh my God. So it's just like it's so good and I think the lyrics are so good and I love the like cliche of it of like music on, world off. You know? Like it's just so like it's just like that cheekiness too of like it kind of gives me the same almost of like I don't want your drugs, I'd rather get high fashion and then there's put your headphones on. Like
Hmm.
it's just so funny. Like it's so campy, but then it's also like this song in particular, Headphones On, is like also so sincere.
I
So
think that's
yeah.
what sells it. Like it, because it like it is a silly sentiment, but I also find it moving with how sincere she is.
Yes. Yeah. So that's my number two. And then my number one is Aquamarine.
Gag City.
Yeah.
Gag City.
Yeah. I personally think this is like the strongest song. I just think it's so good. The music video I'm also like so obsessed with.
So good.
And yes, like this is like the very like Ray of Light, Madonna. Like and the percussion is like almost exactly like nothing really matters. So it's just like,
Mm.
oh, like the song is so strong to me in that way. And it's just like the whole thing's so good. Everything about it is so great. Like, yeah, I think that song like has such it has its own world around it. And it's like so I don't know, it's just like such a strong song. Like I think it could have been I don't think it would have been as big, but it could have been a really cool, I think, lead single too, just because it's so alluring. But yeah, that's my favorite song. I just think it's so great. So yeah,
That's
I
another
like
great top three.
thanks. But yeah, I do regret to bring a Holy Trinity to the table that does not contain Diet Pepsi, but
I
yeah.
mean, you guys are kind of saying like Diet Dr. Pepper lives right now. I mean, it is. the amount of hatred that Diet Pepsi is getting. And you know, I don't even like Pepsi like that. You two know. I would never praise Pepsi if I didn't have to. That's the
R-
strength of Diet Pepsi.
Right. I mean, it's hard. Like it's
Yeah,
not that
it is.
I'm not that I'm hating it. It's just unfortunately like not being discussed by me as much as the others. You know what I mean?
Like, it is just not being discussed by me.
I mean, it's like it's the moment like for all time, you know?
Oh,
But
that's
like
so funny.
there's also that clip of her at like some podcast talking about like, oh, like other people are trying to make Diet Pepsi and like no one's just gonna make Diet Pepsi ever again. And then someone quote tweeted it and it was like, they're talking about Diet Pepsi like it's Billie Jean.
And you know what? It's better.
It's better.
It's an insult to Diet Pepsi to have Billie Jean in the same sentence as it.
Well,
Yeah, hate me, crucify me. I know I'm right. Okay. So
okay.
my Holy Trinity, I think I echo. Well, I know Maria said this. Drew, did you think yours was hard? Did you have a hard time coming up with yours?
Yeah, because the three and four, I was, it
That's
was
how I
really hard.
felt. My number one and two were pretty locked in. My
Same.
three, I had like five or six songs I was going from, and
Yeah.
both of you mentioned songs that were on my periphery. Um, but my number three, I went with the one that I feel the most connected with personally, and that is Aquamarine. Aquamarine, I mean, it is like one of the most Levi Bait songs to ever exist, and I think it just speaks to the like strength of the album that there are two songs ahead of it for me with how like perfectly tailored to my taste it is. But it is just this shimmery, beautiful, aquatic, mystical siren call, and I think it is like fun and flirty, but also like kind of like deep and like philosophical in ways. And it's just cool. The structure of it is so cool and glistening. I love it. I love it so much.
You mix
Um,
the aqua and the marine, it's just cool.
and it's just good. You mix the transforming and the realigning, and it's just good. It's just so good.
Oh my God.
So I'm transforming and I'm realigning for my number three, and on my number two, God, guess I gotta accept the pain because my headphones are on. I'm actually like starting to tear up thinking about headphones on. Headphones on has like become like a incredibly important song to me over the last few days. So I thought it was great when it was released as a single. I thought it was really vibey. I loved like the melody of the chorus. I thought it was so catchy. It did not hit me as an intergalactic slay like message from the prophets, like just ender of humanity until I heard it within the context of the album. But like there is just something I think so moving about the last statement of a record just being like, well, guess I gotta accept the pain. And like, I find that really profound. Honestly, this might be TMI, but I've been talking a lot about DBT and therapy, which is this like approach, this like therapeutic approach. There's CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, and that's about like rewriting patterns and like literally rewiring your brain. And then DBT, which I forget what it stands for, social work girlies, go off in the comments. But DBT is more about kind of like more similar to like radical acceptance, and it's about like accepting like what's happening and like knowing that things aren't going to last forever. And it's been something I've been talking a lot about with my therapist. And so like having this song just hit me like a load of bricks when it's like the same kind of things I've been working on and thinking about of just like, yeah, like guess I got to accept the pain, and like the only option that I have is to just like, find solace in the things that I know give me light. And I love the melody of it. I completely get the Bjork, but just because of my biases, I think I hear like the bedtime stories of it all. I really think that like that it could sit like in the middle of that album and feel so at home. And I love bedtime stories. I've been listening to it so much. Um, I think her voice sounds amazing on it. I think the lyrical content is great. I think it is just this dreamy, perfect way to end that album. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's immediately like one of my favorite album closers of all time. but it's not number one. It's not number one because, folks, I'm losing all my innocence in the back seat. Like I can't. Like that's just what it is. Like I find it insane that Diet Pepsi is not in either of your two top threes. Like the fact that like Diet Pepsi exists, the world could die and humanity would have reached the apex of its potential. Like
Call me crazy.
it is like I never thought a TikToker could make a song like Diet Pepsi. Diet Pepsi is one of those truly immaculate pop songs, and I think it like reaches this like level of sublime. I think it is a sublime song. I feel this like level of ecstasy in the chorus that like I can't put into words, and it's the kind of thing that only pop music can do to you. And it's why I love pop music so much. The mixture of these like very simple words that contain so much meaning, even though they're so abstract, when we drive in your car, I'm your baby, losing all my innocence in the back seat. Say you love, say you love, say you love me, losing all my innocence in the back seat. Like that's everything and nothing at the same time. It's perfect pop lyricism. The melody is one of the great pop melodies I've ever heard. The dreaminess of the production, the way that she's talking in the background, just the hazy, gauzy quality of her vocals. Um, it's a perfect song. And then the modulation at the end, everything I truly believe it will be looked at as a travesty that it was not nominated for a Grammy. It is like one of the great snubs. Record of the year, that's getting my vote over Fortnite. And you know, if you're a listener of Pop Girlies, you know I'm a Fortnite writer. Bunny is a writer, Levi is a Fortnite writer. But Diet Pepsi down. That is my mama. That is everything to me. So,
Work.
but Summer Forever and New York were both close contenders for my number three. So
Tea.
Wow.
there's that.
Well,
Okay.
Well,
we have.
So now let's get, I have no idea what's going to happen with the score time. I really don't know.
do I
So
have to go
now,
first?
well, yes.
Okay.
Drew, the next time you do one, you can mix it up.
Oh, right. Okay. Um, I'm gonna go in at a 9.1. I really like this.
Yeah. Perfect.
Nice. Well, I think I'm going to give it a 9.
I feel like that's high for Maria for like a new album.
Yeah,
Like
that
that's
is.
really high for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been debating this really hard because, well, we all know that I'm the easiest grader of the bunch of us. But like, I've been thinking about it. I was talking about this weekend with a friend of the pod, Alex Wishi, and I think that it is a lot easier for me to rate albums that have been released longer because I think like replay value is such a big part of an album score, and I think something that like I come back to and I'm drawn to over time. It influences me and it makes me want to score it higher. So like a newer album is hard for me because like I go back to Eusexua, which I gave a 9.4, and I think it's a great body of music that I have not felt compelled to go back to like really at all since its release. It has not had the staying power to me that I thought it was maybe going to have. I don't know. There's something about this. It just this completely works for me. This completely works for me. There's really nothing about it that doesn't work for me. I'm going with my gut. I'm following my heart. I'm giving it a 9.5.
Slay. I was
Cute.
waiting for the 10.
Honestly,
Now,
yeah.
I'm not that crazy.
Okay, okay.
Maybe if Die Pepsi had a reprise, then it would be a 10.
Oh, that would be good.
Okay, so we have a 9.1, a 9, and a 9.5 with an average score of Miss Ray at 9.2.
Huge.
Work.
That is T. She has a higher average score than Cowboy Carter
Well,
and in Rainbows and Art Pop and Brat
Okay.
And Ray of Light.
That's the one.
Okay,
Brat is the
well,
one
Well, and
album
we
that I would
and
raise.
and whose fault is the Ray of Light one?
Literally, like, when the only ones that I give bad ratings for are the ones that y'all are so pressed about.
Uh, Well, that would be how it would work if the ones that you give a bad
I
rating.
don't give none of y'all shit anymore for any of the ones that you rated
Okay,
bad.
keyword anymore.
The only
You
time I
were
gave you shit was at the time.
you were about to leap through the screen during the Teenage Dream recording for Maria's score.
And then have I mentioned it since? No. But every time y'all want to talk about Miss Ray of Light, you throw me under.
I'm not throwing nobody under nothing. I'm stating
Mm-hmm.
facts,
Sure.
figures, information, and truth.
Okay.
You sounded southern there.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
My
you
voice cracked.
um
Okay.
yeah, you would give Brat a higher score because you were hold my hand tank for Brat.
Yeah, that's the only one where if
Maria
I
gave it
would
the same
change it.
score as Addison. Maria gave both Brat and Addison 9.
I feel like that's kind of fair for me.
Yeah, I do think that's fair for you. I gave it a
See?
9.3,
Yeah,
which is I also I
I
think it's
would
fair.
honestly go in at like a 9.2 if we did it again, but
It's set in stone.
it's set
For
in
what?
stone. Brat.
It's set.
Oh, for Brat.
Oh, girl, trust me, not for Ray of Light. Just because of all
Not
the
right.
shit we've talked, he'd give it a 4.2.
Yeah,
Too
you want me to go
lower.
lower?
Well, no, don't take it out on American Life. Don't take it out on
Yeah,
American
y'all
Life.
better watch your fucking words.
Yeah, we actually, Levi, we need to be doing some investing in
Yeah, we need to be
lingo.
doing rehabilitation.
Rehabilitation. We have to get that American
Madonna
Life score.
habilitation.
We
Yeah,
have
we
to get it
do.
to a 10 no
We
matter
do.
what.
Drew, you are perfect and beautiful.
Drew,
Mar
all of your
Mar
opinions are valid and fair
Marie
and
and I
great.
retroactively give Teenage Dream 30.
I build a time machine so I can go back in time and give 143 a 10.
Wait, imagine the gag if Maria
Right.
gave it a higher score than you did.
What?
143.
143.
143.
I think she gave it a 4.3. Did you?
Well, no,
Uh,
I mean, the joke is that I'm going back in time to give it a higher score.
Right.
But yes, I did give
Cool.
it a low score.
Yeah. See,
well,
like I'm remembering that
uh, well,
when
yes.
y'all try to criticize me for Miss Gardana, and I think I gave her a 7.
You did. You gave Ray of Light a 7.2.
So yeah, so
Okay, it's just hard because
that's
like right now we're like trying to compare things that are just like are not comparable.
cool.
Like
So
there's
Maria,
not
what are we
similar.
discussing next week?
They're not similar at all. So that's just like the point I was trying to make.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. So, Pop Girlies Nation, if you're wanting to hear more fun discussion, yeah, definitely more where all of this came from, which is so fun and exciting. But next week, we're gonna be talking about one of my favorite like summer fun albums, and it's like somewhat of a departure from what we typically talk about. It's going to be Young the Giants' debut self-titled album. They are a band I've listened to for like a whole lot of my life, like especially when I was in grade school, I listened to their music a whole lot. But I think their first album is like super classic. It kind of has that like early 2010s like indie alternative rock kind of aura around it. And yeah, I'm just really excited to discuss it with you guys. I think there's some things on it that you guys might enjoy, but yeah, I just think it's like a really great body work, and that's what we'll be talking about next week.
Yay,
Nice.
excited.
Yay!
Revisit the music
Yay.
of all my teenage friends. Wait, my friends when I was a teenager, not my friends that are teenagers now, because I don't have friends that are teenagers.
We're
Nah,
getting it.
that'd be weird.
Yep.
Okay, anyways, well, I'm gonna go transform and realign.
I'm gonna go take a bite of the Big Apple.
I'm gonna go put my
Mm.
headphones on
Okay.
because it's summer forever.
And guess what? We gotta accept the pain. Bye, Pop Girlies.
Bye.
Shanti.